41%. That's the key number. 41% of Americans say that the U.S. economy is getting better. Now, that may not sound like much. It's clearly below half, but that 41% is the highest such number, and this is our key measure of consumer confidence that we have measured since we began tracking this on a daily basis in January of '08. In other words, a new record high for recent years in terms of the percent of Americans who see the economy getting better. Now, a couple of weeks ago, this was at 40%, but this 41% for our weekly average from last Monday through Sunday, August 30th, again sets a new record. The percent of Americans who say the economy is getting worse is now at 54%, I should point out. What does this indicate? Well, clearly we would rather have Americans saying the economy is getting better than getting worse. We had seen some ups and downs in August on this measure. It hasn't always been a very smooth pattern, but go back to January of this year, you can see how low the numbers were then. We've well more than doubled this key measure of optimism about the economy so far this year. Now, is this translating into consumer spending, which is the real reason we monitor consumer confidence, is the assumption that it makes a difference in terms of actual behavior. Well, unfortunately, we don't see a real change here. $56 was the average daily amount that Americans told us last week they spent. That's down. We had seen an uptick a couple of weeks ago, talked about it a lot here, but that's come back down again. I should point out that last year, at about this same time, the last week of August, we also saw a downtick in spending, although all the levels last August, up or down, were higher than we've seen this August. So we're still looking for a significant renaissance, an increase, a surge in consumer spending. Don't have it yet. What about the job market? Well, again, several weeks in a row now, dead even. 25% of American workers say their companies are hiring. Same number say their companies are firing. That's certainly better than having more workers say their companies are firing people than hiring. But we have yet to see a movement to the point where consistently and significantly American workers say their companies are hiring at a higher level than say the opposite. Bottom line out of our weekly consumer update, Americans continue to inch up in terms of optimism about the economy. We're waiting to see that translated into spending, and we're waiting to see Americans tell us that at their place of employment, their employers are hiring more than firing, and we haven't seen that yet. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Editor-in-Chief of the Gallup poll.